Hello, how are we today? How are we doing? I'm a little tired. It's the weekend. But here we are. We made it. Consistency is key. So today we're going to talk just about race prompting. Just. Only, hopefully. That's the goal. So with race prompting, I touched on it a little on the episode where it was prompt craft. And what it is essentially is a really great format to guide you through prompting so you can get your best outputs from your input. And we're going to dive into it. If you have any questions, always be free to ask. And also, I'm just really excited that you're here. Thanks for being here. I love having you here. You're always welcome. All right, let's dive into it. Prompting with race. I know technology can feel overwhelming, especially when it seems like there's always something new to learn, which there is. As a real estate agent, maybe you are a real estate agent, maybe you're not. Maybe you're just a business owner. Maybe you're a musician. Maybe you're just somebody who wants to learn better prompting for whatever job you have. You're juggling multiple hats. Just in life, we all juggle hats. And now tools like ChatGPT are added to your plate. Maybe you've tried using it and felt unsure if you were doing it right. Honestly, that's okay. None of us have it figured out yet. Like, how old is AI? A year and a half. A year and a half. No one is pro yet at these tools. We're all novice. There's no one who could be 10 years of experience with the tools that currently exist because these tools are new. What I do know is that with a little creativity, we can push the boundaries and make tools like ChatGPT work for us. And that's something I've been experimenting with, race prompting. It's not about being perfect or knowing everything. It's about making what you already do sharper, more targeted, and just a little bit more exciting. So we're going to break it down step by step, and each letter represents a format. So first we're going to start with role. When you're thinking about your role, you're crafting the voice for your description. And when I'm thinking about the voice of a description, the idea is if I ask a question to a person who's a music teacher versus a person who's a science teacher, the way that they answer that question is going to be very different. And so when I give a role to the chatbot to help me answer a question, that determines where on the internet it's searching, because the internet is so vast. Like, I love to think of the movie like Wreck-It Ralph, like, whew, there's a lot going on in there, and you can end up in different bubbles. And what bubble do you want to be in? And that role really helps narrow down the niche of where exactly in the internet you want the stream to come from. So when I'm thinking about a role to solve a problem, who would be somebody in the real world I would ask? And also, what titles do they have? Formal titles, because I think the more formal title you can get, the better results. And like I've told you before, a lot of my newsletters are real estate oriented, but we are going to go with it because I think it's such a good community focused attitude. So it is very applicable to maybe your personal side of life that you need help with. Say that you are looking for community still, and maybe you just moved new into town and you just really don't know how to operate yet in the new city. So when brainstorming, I like to think of role as a vibe or an angle I want ChatGPT to take. Picking a role gives the description a personality and makes it way more interesting to read. Here's a few I think are interesting. Act as a neighborhood guide. Because I said neighborhood, I'm gonna get lifestyle benefits, I'm gonna get the nearby amenities, like that little word. Every word matters. With prompting, every word matters. And if you can use a different word instead of this word, like things that are synonymous don't mean the same thing. They're synonymous, but the computer is so entailed with information that it knows that exact definition versus the other definition. So when you add a specific word, it knows the exact definition of that word, and that exact definition affects the output. Okay, so act as a luxury lifestyle consultant. So this would be giving prestige, exclusivity, high-end features. You want to add that little bit of extra prowess to the fine detailing of life, and that can go into anything. But whenever you're looking at luxury lifestyle consultant, those three combo words, I'm planning a wedding. Act as a luxury lifestyle consultant. How do I explain how I can help my guests feel this wedding from start to finish? Act as a dream weaver. I love this one. This one's like one that I use a lot. Okay, so act as a dream weaver. This one is aspirational living and magical moments. So this is a real term on the internet. It exists. Dreamweaver is like a more different culture of the past used it, but it's published, historical, and there's a lot of information on it. And when you act as a dreamweaver, you're bringing things together that are in theory, not in practicality. So maybe you have something that's in your head that you want to bring to life. The dreamweaver is a great role to use. Especially if there's something that you're kind of putting together multiple pieces of something. There's not really one segment of practical published theory on anything, so you really need to mix. You're really making a mix and bowl. That's a good one. It's a good one to use. Act as a life coach. So you're going to get personal growth, inspirational spaces, and potential. I love the life coach one because honestly, when I need help getting things done, I don't need you can figure out what tone you need. Do you need that aspirational tone? Do you need that sergeant? Do you need that person that's gonna kick you in the ass? Oop, bad word, sorry. Whoops. Are you wanting to have somebody just be really kind to you because you need that kindness to get motivated? Or do you need somebody that is kind of more harsh on you to get motivated? Or are you on the spectrum of in between? Find that title for that good motivating factor. And then maybe you should have it automate emails to you every morning with your to-do list written in the voice of whatever that segment, wherever you landed, so that you can get everything done. And you feel motivated to do so because you got your to-do list, you got told what to do. But really no one's telling you what to do except for you. And that's what I love about it. Oh my God, there's a person walking. Oh no. Okay, we're good. We're just gonna breathe. I saw him early, so he didn't see me yet. But we're gonna just look at my phone. Will my social anxiety get me through this? The answer is yes. No, I don't care because he's on his phone. Okay. So the last role example I'll give you is act as a guardian of legacy. Very cool title, right? But also it's like Guardians of the Galaxy. Very cool, very catchy. Okay, so multi-generational appeal, long-term value. So it really focuses on long-term value. You could even be doing it just like, hey, I'm thinking about eating this pizza. Act as a guardian of legacy. What will that do? Tell me if I should or shouldn't eat that pizza. What would it say to you? Also, it might say something different to you than it would to me because it has your memory, and maybe you use it all the time for talking about your health and your diet. And if you do, you would have a very detailed response. I do not, because I know I have a bad healthy diet. I should eat healthier. But my ChatGPT doesn't know that yet because I haven't talked to it about it because I'm not trying to get better yet. I should though. I should. Anywho, okay. So action is our next letter. A. A for action. Okay, we're back in action. Okay, so roles are the vibe. Actions are what you want ChatGPT to focus on. So this is really the task where you're do this for me. That's the action. But the better descriptive you could be, the better. But it doesn't have to be long. I like to keep an action 2 or 1 sentence. So you want to specify, the comparative language. You want to prompt for sensory details. Okay, so I'm just going to read really quick. It could be a little summarizing, but sometimes when I read it, I'm like, ooh, that was good. And I wrote it. Okay, so action. Write a property description tailored for first-time home buyers, focusing on affordability, practicality, and charm. So that specifies the target audience where I'm focusing on first-time home buyers in the action. Use local context. Include details about the neighborhood, such as nearby parks, schools, shopping centers, to showcase property's location benefits. So I want to hear the location, property, benefits. Those are like the key. Even when you hear the action, you should be able to pull out like 3 words that are really key. Some of it's kind of like the structural fluff of a sentence. I'll do that as an example for the next one. Use comparative language. Compare the homes to similar properties, emphasizing why it stands out. That one's a little bit easy. Compare the homes to similar properties. Prompt for sensory details. Describe the property using sensory language, like the feel of the hardwood floors, the scent of the garden, and the light pouring in through the large windows. That is actually a really good one that you could take to any industry to describe product using sensory language. Sensory language means something to the computer. There's a lot of categorized content that is focused on sensory effects. So when you're focused on the sensory effects, I feel like, why do we love ASMR? Why do we love just like hearing the scenes of Toy Story where they're painting Woody again? There are sensory aspects that our body just naturally appeals to, and I feel like it's under appealed to on the internet. Slime is another example, like why slime videos do so well. So when we're focusing on sensory aspects, we're targeting a very large demographic of people who love to be fed context of sensory details, and the computer can do that for us. We don't have to be very skilled at knowing how to do that, which upsets people. It does. But I am an individual who does not have a budget to afford help from people. But I do have a budget for $20 a month. And I do have a creative mind, and I have a mind that's thinking in a very critical way. And so, yes, I'm sorry, I can perform at the same level because your work is published. That published work helps the computer create something. And the private internet is coming that will help people with their property, which is great. But a little too late for the computer. There's a lot of stuff that it has access to. So using sensory details is chef's kiss. Request a call to action. So this is the action we want to request a call to action. End the description with a compelling call to action, such as inviting prospective buyers to schedule a viewing or attend an open house. I actually just did I do newsletters where I like tell people exactly what they should be posting based off of what's trending. And I'm just going to say this because I think it's really good. Sometimes actually you should do reverse psychology. So request call to action is so normal, like so done, like everyone does it, especially now that we use ChatGPT. Like everyone's not afraid to do it because we can like see all the different ways we can do it, and we can like pick one that we like. But the opposite would be telling them not to call you. And when somebody tells me not to press a red button, I want to press it. So that's just like a fun little, why not try that? So instead of request call to action, request do not disturb. I would even go so as far as to tell it that I'm trying to do reverse psychology because the computer and we're insiders. So I'd be like, end the description with a compelling do not disturb request, inviting prospective buyers to not disturb me in order to engage the, I don't even know how I would say that. I probably asked ChatGPT first, like, what's the reverse psychology, and get some contextual verbiage that is scientific. But the idea is that I would want the reverse psychology in action, but I don't know the exact verbiage I would use yet. I would definitely do a little research before. C, context. We're just going to move on, but you get the vibe of action, right? Action. All right, C, context. This is where you come in, like your expertise, your knowledge, whatever juice you got, this is your juice. So this is where we feed ChatGPT the basics. The more details you give, the better, the more tailored the descriptions become, and think about. But one thing to keep in mind is kind of when you start a prompt chat, sometimes if you give them like a very specific detail and maybe it wasn't that important and it latches onto it, you might just need to start a new chat, because sometimes it's harder to like adjust out of a little rabbit hole that the chat is going. and maybe you just need to start fresh and work on the original prompt again. But for like updated context that you would want to add, if you're talking about like a product, it would be key features, the condition of the product, the highlights of the product, the unique selling points. If it's something that you're working on that is more related to human aspects, like what is the personas, what is the current situation, how are the pieces on the chessboard positioned, and how can you be moving, like what are your options to move forward. So this part is like painting a base coat. It sets the foundation for creativity. It definitely gives all the context so that the computer can do the creativity for you, but the context is all the reality focused. Maybe the other parts are a little bit theory and bringing in different aspects like the role, but this one should be totally concrete based off of what you really need in the real world. E, expectation. Push the limits. Here's the fun part. Expectations is where you get ChatGPT to tell the story that makes people feel something. Think about it. Spark desire, create exclusivity, build trust through simplicity, or reinforce value. So, for example, I ask for a property description in a sensory detailed, I'm acting as a luxury guardian of luxury. I'm going to ask for the sensory details. I gave it the context of the property, but now I really want to spark desire for my client. I don't know how to spark desire, but I'm going to tell the computer to tell them to spark desire. But I hope that maybe you outlined some enough context that the desire is correct. Like the computer can make stuff up, so make sure you're fact checking. But the more context you give it, it has more juice to, or more carrot to juice to spark the desire. So create exclusivity, position the property as a unique opportunity that won't last. So definitely make it kind of like going fast, last chance. You couldn't have it if you don't want it. Like, it's gonna be gone soon. Building trust through simplicity. You could tell it to write it like it's talking to a first grader. I want it to talk to Michael Scott. Like, I need it to be very simple. Versus Oscar. Reinforce value. Highlight how the property meets practical long-term needs. So like long-term, short-term. How does this, whatever you're selling or whatever you're trying to analyze, long versus short-term. And I think what's interesting about expectation too is this is like contextually if I'm writing script. Obviously this one's a little writed script focus, but say that I'm analyzing some data and I'm trying to compare and contrast. This is in the expectation bracket is where I would put like, please provide all the data in a graph format. Please provide all the data in a table format with the columns being and the rows being, and then outline my variables. So there's like a lot of stuff that you can play with, and even going so far as provide it in Excel format so I can transfer it to an Excel sheet. Maybe you're doing a caption versus an email marketing. This is where you would say, I need it to be this many characters long. There's just a lot of parts of expectation where you can play around with it a lot. I also like to add, there's a really key word that I like to add. Assume, like this is my expectation at the end if I don't have like too much expectation in the first place, but I'll just be like, assume that my client is doubtful of me. And I can go so far as to be like doubtful of my like intelligence or doubtful of my expertise, but I just like to say doubtful. Like I don't like to put myself in a box for why they don't like me. I'm like, they could just not like me for any reason. Like who am I to judge how they don't like me? No, we're gonna make it general. So definitely push the limits on your expectations, because the better you can explain your expectations to the computer, the better the results, just like in real life. It is a communications calculator, and the better you can communicate, the better the calculator communicates with you. So it's all about balancing creativity with clarity. If you, final thoughts, are ready to race on your own, here's how you can start. Pick a role, Think about how you want to frame the description. Are you helping your buyers see a charm, or are you helping them see prestige of owning whatever you're selling? And then set an action. Number 2, set an action. Decide what to highlight. Do you want sensory details, a call to action, or focus on key features? Provide context. Give ChatGPT the basics. Locations, features, what makes this valuable? Define the expectations. What feeling do you want to evoke? You don't have to be perfect. Just start. The thing about tools like ChatGPT is there's no one right way to use them. It's all about trying, tweaking, and getting creative. If you're feeling stuck or just want to bounce ideas, leave a comment, race, and I'll brainstorm with you. Let's figure out together how to make this work for you. Because that's really the goal. Like, I want everyone to succeed with these tools that everyone's afraid of, and I think we can. I think that'd be so cool. And I am so happy that you are here. I appreciate you so much. Let's chat again soon. Gibbs. Ding. Woo! We did it. Kind of humid today. I'm not looking forward to the summer, quite honestly. But mwah, I hope you have a great weekend. Maybe you're seeing this on a weekday. Just have a great day in general. See me tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow